Hey everyone, good morning. It's Thursday, October 27th. Welcome to Fox 44 Morning Brew. I'm Caitlin Napoleone, here now with meteorologist Alex Wasylenko. Coming up, the trial of an alleged killer nears completion, but will the charges against him change?
We'll have the very latest in the case and how soon we could hear closing arguments. Then, improving broadband infrastructure in the Green Mountain State.
The counties that are receiving federal funding to deliver high-speed internet. And move over Jennifer Snopez because there are new plows in town.
How your kids can enter the contest to rename some of Vermont's most important winter assets on the road. Those stories and more are coming up shortly, but before we even start thinking about snow, record highs yesterday. Polar opposite of winter, in fact, feeling more like August.
Yeah, mid-August.
Yeah, it was a steamy day, not just warm, but pretty humid. And I saw your tweet the other day too saying it's legitimately humid out here.
Yeah, I went on a walk with my daughter. I had her, in her carrier strapped to me, and I was going up and down hills and following my dog through the woods. And I was like, I am sweating profusely, like just walking through the woods. It was way hot.
I tell you, it was a bonus day yesterday in terms of fall in the month of October, but boy, it was a sweaty day of weather, steamy day of weather, but things are changing in a big way this morning. Much chillier out there to start the day. You're going to want to bundle up with a heavy sweater or at least the light jacket this morning as an area of low pressure and its attending boundaries float out to sea with high pressure getting reeled in behind it. That high pressure is helping to clear out the skies. It's drying us out. But boy, because we're in between two systems, the pressure gradient is tight this morning. And what does that mean for you? It means a blustery start to the day. Northwesterly breezes in place this morning are sustained at 10 to 20 miles per hour and gusting 25 to 35 miles per hour from time to time. The latest gust in the capital city of Montpelier, 32 miles per hour. Yeah, that is making for an extra chill in the air for sure. But first, we need to talk about the cooler air that those winds are delivering to our actual air temperatures. They're a good 5 to 15 plus degrees cooler now than 24 hours ago. And even though our temperatures read 30s and 40s in northern New York, 40s and 50s elsewhere, we need to factor in that is the wind chill for today because those northwesterly winds are going to persist through the afternoon with temperatures only reaching the low 50s. But from time to time, it could feel more like the upper 40s. So bundling up and grabbing the shades, both great ideas for today. We'll talk about our latest cool down today, how long it lasts, and a preview of your hollow weekends coming up in just a bit. Caitlin?
Thanks, Alex. We begin this half hour with an update. The suspect in a double homicide in Danby from 33 years ago is back in the Green Mountain State. 79-year-old Michael Louise is being held at Southern State Correctional in Springfield. Louise was arrested at his home near Syracuse earlier this month. He made his first court appearance there and will need to answer to second-degree murder charges in Vermont later today. He's accused of killing his former in-laws George and Catherine Peacock at their Danby home back in 1989. DNA evidence recently traced Louise to the scene of the crime. The man charged in the shooting deaths of a Concord couple waived his arraignment on Wednesday. 26-year-old Logan Clegg pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder. He's accused of killing Stephen and Wendy Reed in Concord this past April. Clegg was arrested on a fugitive from justice charge in Vermont 2 weeks ago and was transported back to the Granite State on Tuesday. Clegg will remain in custody, but he has the right to request a bail hearing at a later date. The trial of Ida Gurung is close to wrapping up. The prosecution and defense rested their rebuttal, and closing arguments could happen this week. Gurung is accused of killing his wife and attacking his mother-in-law with a meat cleaver in 2017. Fox 44's Isabel Shonovan has been following that case very closely.
The court can't move forward with closing statements quite yet. Both sides will be meeting with the judge to decide how to proceed in the case and whether or not the attempted first-degree murder charge will change. One day after psychiatrist Dr. Catherine Lewis testified that Ida Gurung was not legally insane at the time of the crime, forensic psychiatrist Dr. Maya Prabhu was brought in by the defense to critique Dr. Lewis's opinion. Dr. Prabhu notes Dr. Lewis did not consider important records informing her opinion.
The records document very clearly that Mr. Garang reported command auditory hallucinations, he felt that his brain was not working right again. He indicated that part of his brain was telling him to do things and was controlling him.
Dr. Prabhu was not allowed to offer her own opinion to the jury, but pointed out some areas of conflict in Dr. Lewis's testimony.
There had been a prior diagnosis of psychotic symptoms and afterwards a post-diagnosis of psychotic symptoms. So it was a psychotic rage. She simply argues anger without considering the psychotic symptoms in the documentation.
In cross-examination, prosecution asked if psychotic people can conform their behavior at times, to which Dr. Prabhu answered yes. With that, the defense rested its rebuttal. Both sides will be back in court for a half-day Thursday, and if the issue of the charges are settled, it's possible closing arguments could start as soon as Friday or Monday. Reporting in the studio, Isabel Schoeneman, Fox 44 News.
There's a chance your internet connection could be speeding up in the coming years, as more federal funding will help build broadband networks in Vermont. Fox 44's Josh Morrill has more details on how the funding could affect lower populated communities.
Tuesday, the Vermont Community Broadband Board announced that $26.5 million in grants will be headed to Vermont communities in need.
The funding that the Vermont Community Broadband Board just approved is going to serve addresses in Addison County. It's going to serve addresses in Bennington County. It's moving us along on our trajectory to get all Vermonters served.
This project will extend fiber to the home networks and will deliver broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabyte to people in need. The first phase of the project began in the spring, and its engineering and design are currently in progress. Deputy Director of the VCBB, Robert Fish, says the projects benefiting from the grants will bring higher speed internet to 4,000 underserved Vermonters.
We expect construction before the end of the year in each of these locations. It's going to take a while.
There are currently 64,000 unserved homes that don't receive adequate broadband in the state. And to help chip away at that number, Senator Patrick Leahy, the chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, has been influential in getting the state another $90 million in federal broadband funding that was announced Wednesday and will go to capital projects.
I can bring you to some of the most beautiful small towns in Vermont, but you will hear that they don't have a place where they can go to children for broadband. They will have now.
The state says 20% of the $90 million will be set aside for getting internet in all of Vermont's libraries and will help over 13,000 homes and small businesses get access to affordable internet. And Congressman Peter Welch says the pandemic and remote learning put even more of an emphasis on this need.
It wasn't just a matter of having broadband for your convenience and to be able to stream things. It was a real necessity. People had to work at home. Kids had to study at home.
Josh Morrill, Fox 44 News.
Fish also said the VCBB has issued over $120 million in grant funding to date to accompany over $300 million in other significant federal funding. They estimate that over $1 billion is needed to bring broadband to all 64,000 underserved Vermonters.
The way I came up with it is I have a stuffy wolf that is named that, and I was thinking of it that time, and I'm like, well, it's a snowplow, and that's related to snow, so I guess that would be a really good name for it.
Ryan Haggerty, one of the students who named a snowplow in Vermont last year. Parents and kids, listen up, you guys. VTrans is bringing back the contest for a second year. Arctic Blaze was the name Ryan chose for one of the 163 plows renamed last year. And worth bringing up again because I just love all of these. Other winners were Jennifer Snowpez, Icebreaker, and Baby Snowda. This year, the agency is looking for 87 new names for the big orange plow trucks. All schools that did not take part last year can submit one name by November 9th. And good news for Ryan and all the other winners from last year. The trucks named in 2021 will keep their names. A squabble over taxes is settled, and Granite Staters are reaping the benefits. Coming up, why the Bay State is paying out nearly $4 million in a nearly decade-long dispute.